Hey, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by the channel. My name's Robert. This is Pheasant Lane Farm, 20 acres that my wife and I bought a year ago today, I believe. Moved in. Consider this a diamond in the rough. I've done a lot of work to improve this place, but there's tons of work more to go. But with the issues with my arm right now, a lot of things have been put on hold, and that's fine with us because getting better is number one priority, and the work will always be there, you know. So, since I've been laid up since my last surgery last week, on Facebook quite a few times in the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, different firewood pages, I've seen guys kind of arguing over the price of firewood. So that really got me thinking, what's firewood really worth? If one guy on the other side of town is selling a face cord of firewood for $65, and a guy on the other side of town is selling it for $100, and it's the same wood, how can that be? So I just kind of want to jump in here, show some of my opinions and my experience. We've only been selling firewood. We started last summer, was selling until I got hurt in October. So maybe figure 6 months worth is what we sold firewood. And we never planned on it when we moved into this property, but we heat our house with wood, and if we can sell enough to cover all of our expenses, it's not something to do. I enjoy cutting firewood. I enjoy splitting firewood. So for us, it was just kind of a no-brainer. But I did a little research. I don't like just to spit out a bunch of information, and I like to give some actual information. So I got on a few firewood pages. And one of them I got on is for guys that they're professional firewood processors. These guys do huge amounts of firewood. They're located in different parts of the United States and Canada. I wanted to give you guys some numbers. So here we go. I asked these guys, where are you at? How much do you sell a face cord for? Which is, some guys refer to it as a rick. A face cord where I am is firewood cut to 16-inch lengths, 4 feet high, and 8 feet long. So it's a third of a cord. 3 of those stacks make up your 4x4x8 cord of firewood. So a guy got back with me from northern Michigan. He sells a face cord for $100 and a full cord for $300. Fellow from West Texas got a hold of me. He sells his for $175 a face cord, $275 a full cord, but that includes delivery within a certain range. I don't want to get in too deep to stuff. A guy in Ontario got a hold of me, $140 a face cord, $400 for a full cord. St. Louis, $200 a face cord. I think that's the highest one. That's the second highest on the list, but that's delivered. $600 for a full cord delivered. A gentleman from Kentucky, he only does full cords. His pricing is a little different. $200 for a full cord in the summer. In the winter, it bumps up to $225. Vermont, $125 a face cord, $300 a full cord. Western North Carolina, this guy also only sells full cords. $300 for a full cord, but that same cord, if it's kiln dried, is $600. Southeast Ohio, a guy said, hey man, anything from $150 to $300 for a cord. Northwest Ohio, that's where I am. A guy got a hold of me, actually lives the next county south of me. He's $85 a face cord and $185 a cord. And I know that sounds low, guys, but in my area, that's kind of what it goes for. But we'll get into that a little bit more later. South Carolina, $75 a face cord, $225 a full cord. This guy got a hold of me. He only sells face cords. He's in eastern Quebec, Canada. $240 a face cord. What else do I got here? A gentleman from Jersey got a hold of me. Good old state of Jersey. Got some family out there. He sells half cords and full cords. He doesn't go by face cords. He sells a half cord for $150 and a full cord for $250. And he also gets $65 to stack that cord. A full cord average in the United States is $295. So, thank you for all the guys that commented on that. I really appreciate it. So, let's get into it. What are the factors that determine price of firewood? Guys, firewood is not unlike any other business. You have your overhead, you have your fixed costs, and from there you go. Here in Ohio, according to my accountant, I don't have to pay tax on firewood because it's agricultural. Still going to do some more checking. That's kind of what I found online, but I want to make sure. But from this paper right here, what's the number one determining factor to price firewood? In my opinion, it's probably going to be location. That seemed to be the guys in Ohio are kind of on the same page. Some guys from other states are on the same page. This wasn't everyone that commented, but I was finding that people in the same areas were kind of the same prices. So if you don't mind, pause this video real quick. Down in the comments, tell me where you are, what kind of wood you're selling, the quantities you're selling, and how much. I just like to hear it. I'm kind of one of those people, I love going through research. So take a minute and do that. I appreciate it. Go ahead. Pause it. Comments. All right, guys. So all these guys were selling what they told me hardwoods. So I didn't get into exact species. Around me, the big ones are oak, maple, ash. Ash is cash is the slogan around here. Oak, maple, ash, some hickory, some cherry. I have bought some sassafras logs. I haven't processed any of those yet. I'm sure I'm missing a few, but those are kind of the big ones around here that you see. So for some reason, I love burning ash. That's what I like to heat our house with. But number one factor, in my opinion, is location. Location is going to set the price. You also got to figure in supply and demand, guys. And I want to go into this because of the comment the Texas guy made. So Texas in the last couple of weeks has gone through some severely cold weather, some issues. I know my wife has some family in Texas. My buddy David, who watches this video, he has a sister in Texas, and he told me that she bought 4 little stacks of firewood and it cost her $100. So they're price gouging in Texas because of the heat. Do I think that's right? No. Is there anything wrong with it? No. Some places there are laws, but you know, the price of ammunition has tripled in some parts of the country. You can't find ammunition unless you know people. And you know, right here, I was talking to a guy who manufactures ammunition. He would sell a 9mm round for 23 cents a few months ago. Now it's $1 a round. So supply and demand, just like any other business, guys, that's where it's going to be the biggest factor. Something else to determine into all of this is you got a buyer factor and a seller factor. Let me go into this. If you're buying firewood or anything, that product is worth whatever you are willing to pay. So let's get into that. As you saw in the beginning of this video, I didn't show all the wood piles and stacks we have. I probably got close to 15 cords of logs on the ground. Now, I got hurt in a bad accident in October. I didn't get around to processing some of that wood. Actually, I didn't get around to processing any of that wood. I still haven't run a chainsaw since then. I wish I could. I had friends and family come over and split firewood. I had people deliver firewood to me. Robert Zucker from Zook's Welding, fantastic guy, brought me well over a cord of solid oak to help me get through the winter. But if I was running low on firewood, I would be willing to pay the $225 that a guy I know sells ash for. Even though I have 15 cords of wood here, and it's worth whatever it may be, I'm not gonna do the math right now. It's worth what you are willing to pay for it. If we were running low on wood, a couple weeks ago we had 19 inches of snow. I'd be willing to pay that $225 to get that cord of ash delivered to my house, no doubt. Another side of it, on the flip side, if you're a firewood seller, how desperate are you to sell firewood? And I'm not trying to knock anybody or anything like that. A lot of these guys were commenting, you know, they're legit firewood businesses. They put everything on the books. They have employees. They pay insurance, all that. These guys, this is not my term, the guys that comment on this, a frequent phrase I heard was jackwagon. These guys are like, hey, it's hard to compete. You know, you have the firewood guys that do it legit. They're all about the same price. And then you get on Facebook Marketplace and you find some guy that says he'll sell you a whole pickup load for $55. Okay. Some people are just more desperate to sell if they need the money than somebody else. That's a factor you have to take into account. Which brings us to the next factor, in my opinion, is quality of firewood. Now, you can have two oak trees next to each other. You can have one guy cut it and process the way he likes, one guy cut it and process it the way he likes. Quality matters, guys. When I was selling firewood, I made sure every piece was exactly 16 inches. I made sure it was split into smaller pieces because that's what people around me wanted, and they're willing to pay for it. That same guy just eyeballs it. Some pieces are 10 inches long, some pieces are 20 inches long. The splits aren't as nice. They're not consistent. In my opinion, I'd pay more money for the wood that's consistent. That's just me. So even though you can have the exact same wood or even from the same tree, however it's processed, I think makes a big opinion. And just like with anything else, when people are coming to buy firewood, appearance is nice. When I was advertising firewood, I'd make sure I had a nice stack. Even just for kind of, Facebook, I'd have a stack of wood, a pile of wood, and a picture. And then I'd have the bucket of the Kubota lined with all even stacks firewood. People loved that. So make sure, if you're trying to get premium prices for firewood, you got to put out a premium product. My issue with the guys that sell firewood by an 8-foot truck bed or a 6-foot truck bed, do you know what you're getting? You'll hear some guys say, half a cord in the back of my Ford Ranger or whatever it may be. Guys, when I go to the grocery store and I want to buy a gallon of milk, I want a gallon of milk or a half gallon. I don't want to pay for a gallon of milk and get 3/4 of a gallon. That's my problem with a lot of these guys selling it by the truckloads. Some guys are stacked, some guys are tossing, some, if the wood's not consistent, do you really know how much you're buying? And part of that, I think, is they're kind of taking advantage of people who don't know the actual dimensions of firewood, cords, face cords, however you want to sell it. Some states have laws, I'm sure no one follows, but firewood is only be sold in cords, face cords, portions of cords. But a known cubic foot of 128. It's kind of the basis from some stuff I was reading. So I think quality has that big thing. Price, we already went over a little bit. Supply and demand is going to do it, your area. What I love to be like the guy in Quebec who's selling a face cord of firewood for what I say, $240? Hell yes. Around here, is it going to happen? Hell no. I've seen guys advertising firewood around me for $100 a face cord. Ash, the wood looks good. It's stacked neat in the pictures. It's you're getting a full face cord of firewood, and within a month you see them dropping that price to $65. Because around me, that's what it goes for. You might get lucky and you might get 85, or you might get a tip. But around here, the most you're probably going to sell firewood for is 85 a face cord, 225, maybe 250 if for a full cord, and we'll get into that in a minute. So I think that one of the big factors of pricing firewood, what is firewood worth, is it's a business. What service are you providing for someone? Are you going out there just to sell firewood? Are you, here's another big thing. A lot of these guys say, I will not allow anyone to come to my property. I deliver. I make them pay the delivery fees. If they don't want to pay the delivery fees, then I don't do business with them. Other guys are the opposite. They said, we don't want to deliver. You lose money. You got to pick it up or you don't buy from me. So, excuse me, about time for my lunchtime pills there. For me, I was doing a little bit of both. People call me, I'd come to the house. If I wasn't going to be here, I would set the wood out by the driveway. My processing area is kind of back another lane. Got quite a few lanes here. I live out in the middle of nowhere. They either put envelope in the mailbox or they would come up and put it between the front doors of the house. But I kind of only like to do that with people I know. I worked afternoon shift. My wife was home, so people would pick up the wood, and my wife would go down and get the money from them. So I'm not a big fan of that. You know, you're always worried about safety and security of your family. But that's the way it goes, guys, if you're in this business. That's pretty much going to wrap this up, guys. There's a lot of guys that will not sell firewood to guys that heat their homes with it because the profit's not there. Now, you take a cord of firewood around me, 128 cubic feet, a cord, I should say, 128 cubic feet. You sell that full cord for $225. Okay. You break that cord down into 1 cubic foot or 0.75 cubic feet bundles. You can get $5 to $6 a bundle. You're really increasing your profit margin with not a lot of extra work. I've seen guys, you know, they can make, if they have a bundling machine, you can go buy one for $1,000 or $2,000. You can really make some money with bundles, and that's something I hope to get into around here. There's a lot of little family-owned campgrounds around here. I don't want to get too big, but there's a lot of small little campgrounds around me, or kind of mom and pop shops and gas stations that's something on my radar where I am, because I don't see guys doing that. And the reason is, I've heard a lot of guys say they don't want to deal with the hassle. Well, that's something you have to consider too. But what's firewood worth? The short answer, it's worth whatever you're willing to pay. Here's a funny story though. If you watch some of my other videos, I used to deal with a tree service. They would drop logs off. I'd pay them $100 a load. They got a hold of me and says, "Hey man, weird load. We're trying to clean out our area. We have 2 loads of spruce poles that were under a roof. They were cut 2 years ago. They're ready to burn. Beautiful." I said, "I'll take it." I don't know why, but I said I'd take it. This was when I was like really new to firewood. So I cut it up real nice. I split it in nice sections. Split's beautiful for the most part. Had a few nice pictures of it. And I said, what's going to happen? 2 small communities around here, villages. I don't even think they're considered towns, but they have Facebook groups. I put on there that I was selling spruce. Get a hold of me, blah, blah, blah. I sold out in like a week. People around here don't sell spruce. Spruce is a junk tree to a lot of people. I figured, what the hell, I'm going to take a chance. People loved it. I couldn't keep it. I couldn't split it fast enough. I delivered some to a lady. She goes, when I grew up, different part of the country, she goes, we heated with spruce. I said, okay. She goes, we camp a lot now. I love the way it cracks and pops, unlike hardwoods. So she said, hey, deliver me a face cord. I said, all right. So I dropped it off to her. And I was asking, or what was I doing? I was asking a little bit higher. Or no, first I sold it for what I sell hardwoods for. Then people just called and said, wanted it like crazy. The same lady I delivered a face cord to called me back 5 days later and says, how much for your 14-foot dump trailer filled all the way up? I shot her a price. She said, deal. She wasn't that far away. She says, I'll pay you $30 to deliver it. Dumped the dump trailer at her house. And just kept selling that spruce. When it was all and done with, that spruce I was selling for $420 a cord. So that's kind of a thing. It was a niche market. People around here don't sell it. Some people have an attachment to it. It brings back memories from when they were kids. People are willing to pay for that. So think outside the box, guys. There's a lot of ways to make money with firewood. Check out Ohio Woodburner. The guy that runs the channel, his name is Joe. If you watch his stuff, he is not a firewood producer. He is a firewood delivery service that also produces firewood. He looks at this business from a complete opposite way. I think it's fantastic what he does. I'd love to meet the guy. We don't live that far apart, but what he's doing has really made me kind of think about how to do things a little bit different. And my only thing right now is I just got to get this arm better, and we'll see what happens. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully there was some good information in this video. But when you're pricing firewood, you can't cut yourself short, but at the same time, your location is going to dictate your profits. All right, guys, this is Robert from Pheasant Lane Farm. Thanks for watching. If you don't mind, if you like this video, hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Take care, everybody.